today's webinar is presented by Kevin Callahan from Membership Growth. Over the past 15 years, Kevin has worked with some of Australia's top associations, clubs and other non-profit organisations, including CPA Australia, the Financial Planning Association of Australia and National Rugby League clubs. His various membership roles include training, business development, keynote and public speaking, and social media. This is Kevin's second time presenting as part of the Redback Business Skills webinar series, and we are very fortunate and delighted to have him back. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand the microphone off to Kevin.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and thanks once again to the wonderful people at Redback. It's so good to do some work with you, as we have done now for probably about 2 years. I also want to say thank you to APT Solutions, as we just took up here, who have actually supported me in this. They've given me some of their contact management slides to display. They have a program called Stratum Engage, which in fact is a database management system, because what I'll be talking about today is about creating and managing member and prospect systems and how you can get the most out of it. If you have questions, that's fine. Put your questions in. If I'm running through an area, I probably won't stop to answer the question on the spot. However, what I will do, I'll answer as many questions as I can towards the end of the webinar, or I will also make a commitment to everybody here today that I will come back to you and I'll answer any questions that I don't get to today by email. So I want to give you total value. What we're going to talk about today is 10 stages of membership growth. We're going to work on ideas, tips, case studies, as it says, to grow your membership, to gain more revenue, to ensure future sustainability, and recession-proof your organization. I love this quote: we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. And as everybody is pretty aware, change is very much upon us. I have a very simple philosophy here. Not everything is going to suit everybody during the next hour. However, 3 words I'd like to say now at the beginning: adopt, adapt, and apply. Anything that you say, oh, not bad, like it, adopt it. Then adapt it to your own unique situation, your own organization, and then start to apply it. Any good ideas that you get out of here today, I would say to you, try to start the application process within 24 to 48 hours. As a professional presenter, I actually took the time to read what you want. There's about 160 people that are booked for this webinar today, and I've gone through every single request of what you want to get out of today. And it looks to me like some people are doing it a little bit tough at the moment, and it is a tough market out there. But I have a saying that I've used many, many times: never mind what the market's doing, what are you doing? And this is basically what this webinar will be all about. There are 10 stages, and we're starting with residence, which I will explain to you in a moment. I didn't do a slide of this, but I'd like everybody to visualize. If you go through these, as we go through the 10 stages today, we're going to create a perfect circle, and each one of these stages leads to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. They're not in really set order. It's up to you to get the right stage at the right time. But I honestly believe if you get these 10 stages down right in your organization, you are certainly going to build your membership and your revenue and ensure future sustainability. The first thing is what I call resonance. And this is all about what I call the sonic boom in your organization. I'm going to make a statement here, and I'm going to put it out to everybody that's here so far. Most organizations, most not-for-profit organizations, do not promote themselves. They do not self-promote in a meaningful way. They go around, they work really, really hard to service their members and do the right thing, but many times they don't tell their members about it. And one of the things that I find is, particularly when I hear people or see people making presentations, so rarely do you hear people say, we are a member or donor-based organization and we are involved in. No, they just simply give feedback about their association. Even in sporting, I've seen sporting coaches, oh, we want to thank our supporters for their support. What about thanking your members for their support? And what about promoting yourselves and telling your members what a great job you're doing for them? I actually got a little case study on that when we talk about renewals, a really workable case study that we did. Areas that I think are really important for self-promotion, okay, as we talked about ensuring future sustainability. When I started today, it's all about external sustainability. However, I believe internal is just as important with your current members. Who do you get to promote you? Well, members of your board, your CEO. Do you have any heroes or champions at your organization that can talk about how good membership is? Look, internally, you look after your members, but do you really let them know how much you put into looking after them? And I say part of that is to create top of mind with your brand for members and prospective members, because I'm talking about both types here. Keep them with you top of mind, and every time they see your brand and every time they hear from you, they're thinking good thoughts about what you do for them. The last thing in this slide I want to talk about for a moment is you developing, packaging, and promoting your USP. Now, when I work with a client, before I actually commence any sort of membership campaign, the questions I ask are, what is your unique selling proposition? What brings members to your door? What do you make or gain or build for them? What do you save for them? What do you improve or increase or replace for your members? What do you protect or reduce? And again, with that, I'm going to give you a little case study, a little down the track. I've got a few case studies that I'll spend a moment or two on today, because I think it's important that you get some real-life feedback as well, not just theory. So I'll be coming back with some case studies as we go through the day, including a little walk with the elephants, which I think you're going to love. So that's resonance. Create a sonic boom and promote yourselves not only to your members, but to prospective members. Now, the next area we're going to talk about is recruitment. And the first thing I always say there, and it's an old saying, I know it's an acronym, have SMART objectives. Be specific, be measurable, be achievable, but be realistic, and be time frame driven. That's what the acronym SMART stands for. And for instance, when I say be specific, I think you need to look at your recruitment in terms of either dollars or numbers or a combination of both. The next area is research. Well, two of the most important questions I reckon you're ever going to ask are, first of all, why did current members join us? And secondly, why are they staying with us? Very, very interesting. Go back a little ways. Why are they there? Why do they join? And why are they staying? And then to get a recruitment program going, the things I recommend is the first thing is create member acquisition channels. I've got a couple of other slides here that I'm going to take you through some real-time channels like I've created for clients in the past and how they've worked. But to me, every time you've got people at an event, every time there's a function, every time there's an inquiry comes through on the phone or on the web, any form of your communications program or social media, or I've shortened that to SOCMED. Do you all like that? You can use that if you wish. Word-of-mouth marketing, anything like that to me is acquisition channels, and I'll show you how that works shortly. Next area is build and manage a prospect sales funnel. I will take you through a real-time sales funnel, something like I've created in the past, how it works, and what happens. Develop a recruitment system and strategy. Very, very important. Marketing, promotion, multi-communications channels. Your website, is it really attractive for members, or is it a home page with a box and a link stuck in the left-hand corner? What's your system? What's your strategy for recruiting your members? And one last thing, and we can't get away from it, people. Recruit more members and keep renewals steady. I want to say here that people come to me and they say, whoa, hey, we've got a 10% member recruitment growth. And I say, that's really, really wonderful. How are your renewals looking? And they say, well, they're currently at about 90%. Well, 10% growth and 90% renewals is probably an effective zero. So I think the thing is here to look very, very much at being in recruiting to be proactive, to be strategic. And let's now take a look at a couple of areas here, such as the next thing, member acquisition channels. Now, what are some of these channels? Folks, there's probably about 30 or 40, and you all have unique channels in your own organizations. But basically speaking, the first thing I look at is every time somebody rings your organization, how are they treated? Every time they phone you, every time they come to you via your website, an inquiry, or every time they email you. Do your people try to capture information? Let's say on a phone call, do you ask the question, are you a member? Aha. May we send you a membership pack? Do you mind if we follow up with you to make sure you've received the pack? Every time, as an inbound contact, gather data. Next, events, functions, professional development, webinars. It's not up there, but it's very, very true. It's a great lead generation source. You go to an event, go to a function, or you get people who come into professional development. If they're not members, I would make it my job and my goal to introduce myself to these people, to meet these people, and to ask them, can we get your name, your mobile, and your email address, and permission to send you a pack and follow through with you. It's really, really simple stuff. The amazing thing I find is there are so many people who let non-members attend events and functions, who have non-members who book into professional development courses, non-members who probably attend these webinars, and they don't do anything to at least capture information. Another area I would look at, how can you influence your other members to get new members? MGM stands for Member Get Member, and it's really amazing. I live and I do a bit of work down here in Mornington, in the Mornington Peninsula, and I worked for the Mornington Golf Club last year. And we did a Member Get Member campaign that got in 17 new members, which was pretty sensational, as their full membership is around 600. So we increased it by about 2.5% with this one campaign. And I thought that was pretty good until I got an email from a lady called Janice Lincoln, and she's at a country club called, as I recall, Elmhurst Country Club in the States. And she thanked me very much for all the information that I gave her and that she purchased from me. But she did a Member Get Member drive, and she got 99 new members in a golf club. That is pretty sensational. So I was really, really excited for her. Now, looking at, once again, another area is outbound telephone strategies. I am going to talk about the telephone as we go through our time together. I am going to talk about a couple of case studies and a couple of things that we've done that have been absolutely fantastic as far as outbound telephone. It's not dead. Social media is great and all other forms of communication and channels, but don't give up on the telephone, whatever happens. And incidentally, one other thing I'd like to say here, I really think a lot of organizations, particularly those of you who are business to business, business to community, not a bad idea to consider some sales training for your people. Today, I really believe that if you're going to gain new members, you need to be able to sell your member services to them, not just relate what you do. Another area, we've talked about it already, is your marketing, your publicity, and your promotion. And something else I'll throw up there is social media. This enables you to engage with prospects. And it turns prospects from being general prospects into what I call qualified prospects. A qualified prospect is somebody who could or should be a member of your organization. And the more qualified prospects you gain, the more your ability to place those people at the top of the prospect sales funnel, as I've got there. Now, you will notice that the sales funnel itself is fairly broad-based at the top, and it's fairly narrow at the bottom. And one of the things that I say is that you need a lot of prospects to work through the funnel. And I'll give you a couple of plans here about working through a prospect sales funnel and a real-life case study as well. It's so important that you work through your prospect sales funnel because it does shrink. You're not going to sign everybody up. But to me, getting them at the top of the sales funnel and getting them down, there are things like using the telephone, there's Twitter, there's emails, there's subscription to newsletters, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's events, there's all sorts of things that will enable you, once you've captured data, to turn prospects into qualified prospects into members. You build your prospect list by marketing channels and your sales funnel. Incidentally, if you invite prospects to an event, please, please have some volunteers or trained people who will meet and greet these prospects and talk them through. Let's look at the next slide. This is a sales funnel, keep in touch possibilities, and it's a compilation of things that I've done for various organizations. But first thing that anybody gets is a membership pack. Now that can be emailed or it can be sent out. Then perhaps a subscription to a newsletter. Perhaps the members' newsletter would be good. And to me, if your members' newsletter has really, really good content, it's a no-brainer. They're going to be looking at this newsletter and saying, wow, members get this, members get that, members save this, I should be a member. Make it a no-brainer. Next point might be a telephone follow-through. And again, I'll say on that, with a telephone follow-through, it should be planned, it should be scripted. I set up a follow-through campaign with the Business to Business Association a couple of years back, and from that alone, they got about a 20% increase. They're in the financial sector, and they got about a 20% increase in members just from that. Invite them to an event or function. As I've said, have a mentor, have a buddy who's going to meet them. And the next point there is make sure they're introduced to members, like can you introduce them to members of the board or your president, people like this, that they can see, hey, this is a really, really fantastic organization. I really would like to be a member. Continue with the telephone and email follow-through. Now, one of the things I say, if you're high-end membership, that is, you charge maybe more than $100 to $50 a year for membership, then I would use the telephone. If you're low-end, like some organizations I've worked with charge about $38, $40 for membership, the telephone then becomes expensive, and I would look more to email. But once again, plan what you're going to say and offer them value. Can you integrate them into social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever is best for you? Can you Twitter them? And the bottom line is they become a member. Now, if you take a look at that, that does describe a number of professional-type steps that is going to bring you down and turn them into members. Okay, they become a member. Well, what happens next? We build rapport. Now, all I'm going to say here is you have the possibility of losing 50% or more of your first-year members, and that is basically through indifference, lack of engagement, and treating them just like everybody else. I'm not saying that you don't give really, really good attention and really work well with your current members. What I'm saying is you've got to treat your first-year members as special because their perception of your organization, good or bad, becomes reality. With first-year members, I recommend highly having a keep-in-touch strategy. Mentor, get them to functions, make offers. I remember once working for Victorian Arts Centre, and we got 2 volunteers, and they would ring new members, and they say, hello, I'm a volunteer member with Victorian Arts Centre. And they would start a conversation with this like-minded person. It was absolutely fantastic. They got them along to do's, they got them into shows, and that's where it all starts, by engaging them, by getting them involved. And that's where they become then what's called, I guess, a member for life, which we'll see in just a moment. Check their progress, check their interaction, track them. A first-year member with software, you actually need a separate prospect and first-year member module in your software. And basically, every 3 months, every 6 months, 9 months, you need to know whether they're using the facilities or not. I would also suggest you perhaps do an email survey. I also suggest that if they're not tracking well and they're not transacting or interacting with you, I would probably make a phone call to them and talk them through some of the things that you can do. Because your goal really is to turn a first-year member into a lifelong advocate. And the other part of that, too, is to gain referrals. You want them to tell other people and bring them in and build revenue. So to me, it's very, very much driven by objectives. Now, with systems, things that I think are very, very important, this is from APT, Stratum Engage, and it just shows a couple of areas. For instance, with recruitment, you can track your keep-in-touch activities. You can work the funnel online. you can have a win or a loss component. In other words, again, if you're a high-end membership organization, it's good to know why you aren't winning in certain cases. It's good to know, for instance, why people don't join you as well as why they do join you. For first-year members, you can track events they attend. Do they do professional development? What's their spend? If it's going well, you can contact them and thank them. If it's not going so well and they're not engaging and they're not interacting, you can contact them and put a save them from leaving you, because sure as anything, if they're not doing anything in their first year, they will probably leave you. Number 4 is retention. And there's a few things I'd like to look at on retention and a few things I'd like to talk to you about. The first thing is reviewing your engagement channels and communication strategy. Now, for me, it's simple things, and I'll tell you a little story. Working for this organization, and again, this was a community-based organization, I said, can you please just give me a member login and password, and I want to check the back end and your members only section. They did, but they weren't overly happy about it. However, what I found when I got there in the members only was a bunch of archived newsletters and the last 3 or 4 AGMs. Gee, that was exciting. Nothing else, no white papers, no streaming videos, no forums, no nothing. And everybody's saying today, yeah, we've really got to engage with our members. Well, you do, but what's working for you and what isn't? And it's as simple as just what's on the members only of your website. Are you making your events and your promotional activities exciting? Because to me, there's a formula for getting people excited. Everything you do is designed to gain their attention. Every time, social media, every form of publishing is designed to get your members' attention and build your brand. The next part of that formula is to keep and maintain their interest with your creativity, with your innovation. The third part of that is to increase their desire to give more to their membership, to engage more in dialogue with their membership, to come to events, to purchase goods and products that you sell, to come to the AGM, anything like that. And the fourth part of that is to engage them is action, that they actually do, they follow through, they make bookings, etc. Another area that I think is very important, what do different member segments want and need? Now, they were going on here for some end. There are younger segments, there are older segments, male, female, ethnics. How do these segments perceive your organization once they join? One survey that I've seen, a significant number of people said, we see you as an old boys club. Another organization that I work for, it was a government organization, and they asked me, they said, we don't think our members like us very much. As I found out, no, their members actually didn't like them all that much. But basically, once again, they didn't get out there, they didn't engage, and they didn't care about their members, though they thought they did. So my job was to bring their members closer to their membership team. Are you a modern, vibrant, innovative organization? What do they actually need? Well, they need, I feel, innovation, value, and member benefits. People that I've worked for and people that I've worked with, member benefits as an example, do you build networks for your members? Do you give them expertise? Do you save them time and money? In other words, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, they don't join because they can get all the information on the net. However, if you've got good content, you can save them time and money and effort because you've got everything. You're a one-stop shop. Do you give them your expertise? Do they gain qualifications? Do you protect your members? Is that part of the value and benefits you give them? For instance, for a professional organization, is your insurance really something they have to have? Do you make money for them? As an example, a business-to-business in retail or professional organizations these days, if you work with professional people, one of the things they're asking is, how can you make me money? What do you do for them? Well, one time, many years ago now, I worked for an organization called Pacific Area Newspaper Publishers Association, or PANPA, and one of the things they got me to do was to go out and present to their newspapers. And the interesting part about this was I had, working for the Age newspaper down here in Melbourne, I had developed a system of building classifieds from something like a 2-line ad to a 4-line ad to a 6-line ad to what they call a small format display, and it was making a lot of money for the Age. And I consequently, through PANPA, worked for about 70% of the newspapers in this country over a 10-year period. So that's a little bit sort of from left field, but these are some of the things that you can do. What are you doing for your members to actively engage with them? Another area that I could talk about, it would take all day. Member service excellence. It creates member advocacy. Now, a story. Somebody rang me and they were talking to me about doing a professional presentation at their organization. I rang this lady back just the other day, and the phone call went, "Me, hello, is lady there, please?" The response, "No." "Fine," says I. "Could you tell me when she'll be in, approximately?" "No, don't really know." "Fine. Would she be in today, or do you think I should ring back tomorrow?" I didn't exactly get told, "Suit yourself," but it was words to that effect. I tried 3 times. I actually got through to the person. So it just, to me, that boggles belief. I could have been anybody. I could have been their #1 member. It just doesn't matter. So member service excellence, where you have competent, confident people with good communication skills and commitment to the member and commitment to the organization, and both on an equal line. And also, I've got to say here, perhaps some sales skills as well. Contact segments, this is you time now. I think if you're engaging well and you've got good channels going out there and good communication strategies, you've locked in the different segments and you're traveling pretty well. You're giving them innovation, value, and benefits. And incidentally, about the last slide of the day, I've got a really, really good definition for innovation. You're going to like that. Then I think it's up to you. You can sell and upsell and cross-sell. And we get to revenue earning in a little while. And, yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit about revenue earning and explain to you exactly what upsell and cross-selling is and how much you can actually earn from that. Okay. Next slide. This is from APT. This is to our good friend Boris. I'll tell you more about Boris shortly. It's called CRM. I call it MRM. Why? It's not customer relationship management. It's member relationship management. And if you've got a good system that shares information, it ensures that members are using their membership services. It shows them what benefits and value they can get, and it also shows you what they're spending. I think you're halfway there, creating a membership-type system. Where you run... That's interesting. I've just logged myself out. Thank you. I think, yeah, I hit the X button. Okay, we'll try not to do that again, Sarah, and I hope I didn't give you a heart attack.
That's fine, Kevin.
Where you're running events or professional development courses, annual general meetings, or anything like that, again, a good system. Give your people plenty of notice. Make it easy to register, just 2 or 3 clicks max. And while you're doing that, it's not up here, but I also think it doesn't hurt to make an offer. As an example, if they're booking into one event, why not give them the second event for about a 25% discount? Why not earn a little additional revenue from that? I think it's the best way to go, and I've put that into many, many organizations who hadn't thought of that previously. When they're booking, make them an offer. Now, some people go, "Oh, I couldn't do that. No, that's not me." Fine, don't do it. I'm not here to change minds or change lives, but I have seen where this has actually earned a lot more money, and organizations such as CPA Australia have utilized those sorts of areas. Before I end here, and before I move to the next area, I want to let you in on what is the actual best retention strategy. Are you ready? Talk to your members. We've talked about a good system. We've talked about social media. We've talked about having your website right. To me, one of the best things that you can do is actually communicate with your members. One-on-one, face-to-face, talk to your members. Number 5 is review and gain member feedback. Well, the first thing I'll say here encourage member dialogue. Whether you've got forums, whether you've got discussion groups, whether you work through LinkedIn, and that's something I've just started up here with a guy, and we're going to, we've just put together a group on LinkedIn, and we're going to build that group, and we're going to give people a lot of value. Encourage member dialogue. And can I say one thing here? Where people do input, where people do give feedback, 2 words I'm going to impart to you here. The words are, thank you. I'll give you another little story. I barracked for an AFL team down here in Melbourne. I won't mention their name, but I really love the team. And one of the things that I've put in with many, many organizations is telemarketing. And I'm going to give you a telemarketing case study shortly that will knock your socks off. I sent an email to the membership manager of my club, and I said, hey, I'm a member. And basically what I'd like to do, you're 5,000 members down for the year, and I'd like to suggest a couple of ways that I can help you. I also suggested that I would send them some information for absolutely no charge, things that I've done in similar clubs in the past, and I'd help them in that way because they were my club. That was approximately 10 days ago. I have not heard a single word, not even to ask for some free information. I haven't even had a thank you. Now, people, we can talk all about member engagement and all the wondrous things and communication channels that are out there, but surely somebody can take 30 seconds out of their valuable time and say, thank you. I don't think that's a lot to expect. Another area that I quite encourage people is member surveys. Determine satisfaction or non-satisfaction, market and promote your organization, and perhaps look at how you can value add and gain some value. Most surveys that I've put together, there's something with between 7 and 10 really good quality questions, and there might be some variables in those questions. So people might have to answer a total of about 15 or 18 questions. I think that is really top of the range, frankly. I worked for an organization last year. We had 6 to 8 questions, but they were committee-driven, and there was about 6 people in the committee. Now, there is an old rhyme, check all the parks in all the cities, you won't find statues of committees. And I think that was particularly true last year. We were given 26 questions with over 20 variations. I thought we were extremely lucky just to get about 19% of members actually responding that. That was after sending out a number of requests and reminders, etc. We did it online, but unlike things like SurveyMonkey, we actually put together as well, we give some really good quality feedback, and we make recommendations as well for growing membership, etc. So, yeah, I wouldn't overdo it. One other thing can I say here, if you can, actively, this might be a great time to get testimonials. Look, it doesn't matter what you say about yourselves, what members say about you is fantastic, and if you can get some of that written down, I think that is really, really important. That member testimonials would be a great thing at this point in time. Now, I see there's lots of discussions and things coming. I won't stop for questions at this stage. And what I will do, though, I will be looking at any of the questions, and I will be responding either today, because Sarah will pick a couple for me, or I will get back to individuals. I can commit very, very much to that.
Kevin, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure, Sarah. I've got to get a little closer to the phone because you're a bit distant, but go ahead.
Are you still supporting that football club?
Yes.
Okay.
I love them.
Okay.
I will always support them. And that's the differentiation between supporting your team, I guess, and thinking that the administration's not so great. How's that for a response?
Very good.
Okay. The last thing in that one is, I think I've said this before, consider a first-year member or a separate review. Now, all of these where you've got good recruitment strategies, you've got good retention strategies, and you're reviewing and you're gaining member feedback, this is now time, I feel, people, where you can actually start to sell. And the first thing that I say to everybody is develop revenue targets, design a sales strategy. Okay, you're talking to an ex-IBMer. Now, everybody knows what IBM stands for. I like to say it's the International Brotherhood of Magicians, because if you didn't make your quota, you disappeared. But we were very, very much, and this goes back many years, we developed targets, we designed sales strategies. I've been a believer all my life. Any of you here who sell, whether it's professional development, whether it's selling events, whether it's selling promotions, fundraising, whatever, to me, it's having targets and designing a sales strategy. Because gaining revenue, it really is about selling. And I can't stress that enough. You leverage your sale. You look at the contacts per annum. You look at your sales strategy. And in many ways, that means to segment your offers to various target markets within your membership. But if you can get your contacts right and a planned contacts per annum, and you've got a good sales strategy, I guarantee that you will build your membership base. And good ways of doing that are through social media, through emails, and once again, through the telephone. Now, develop an upselling, cross-selling strategy. And people are saying, oh my God, it's McDonald's. Well, yeah, it's not really McDonald's, but I tell you what, I got a lot of respect for that organization. Their cross-selling strategies actually deliver about 12 to 15% profit to their bottom line every year. Defining the words, upselling means quantity or quality. In other words, they come in at a basic membership level and you upsell them to gold membership level. They get more satisfaction, you get more revenue. Quantity means, yeah, they book one event, you upsell them to a second event. You might give them a discount for attending the second event. Both of those areas, and that's just two things I touched on, they can earn you 15 to 40% additional revenue in your organization in a year. Anybody wants to talk revenue strategies with me, shoot me an email. I'm happy to discuss it with you. Cross-selling means value adding. It's like anything, and I don't know, again, you're different people from different organizations, but if you sell professional development, do you sell books and manuals and things like that with it? That, to me, is part of the cross-selling strategy. If you have membership memorabilia and areas like that, you cross-sell, you value add. It's all about earning revenue. Now we're going to do an example from our friends at APT, and this is Boris again, Mr. B. Land. First of all, Boris, he's not paid up, not liking that. Secondly, Boris doesn't want to allow you to telephone him. And third, can everybody see on the right-hand side, the dude is a cheapskate. He has spent a total of $28 for the year. Bad, Boris, bad. It's fantastic where you've got a system that you can look at, register the sales by their interest, by their segments, by previous transactions, frequency of sales, recency of purchase, and how much money they're spending. These are all important in a really, really good system, so you can then target your markets, make special offers, make seasonal offers, make cyclical offers. That's what it's all about. People who can sell your products and people who've got a good system that they know who the markets are. Now let's talk about renewals, and let's talk about a couple of real-time areas here. There's probably 3 or 4 things to cover off in here. Some of you are renewals date of joining. That is, they join in January, they join in April, whatever. That's when they get renewed. A number of you are calendar. That is 1st of January. And incidentally, why would anybody have renewals on the 1st of January, particularly with consumers? What happens in December? I have raised this on more than one occasion with people, but anyway, that's what some people do. To me, I'd go April, I'd go the end of June, rather than do 1st of January for renewals. A couple of points I'd like to make to people is, first of all, commence early. I always recommend start your renewals, whether it's the date of joining or the calendar, 3 months out. In particular, first-year members, watch them. Make it easy to renew, and look at payment options. I think more and more today, you can offer different payment options to your members, so they can perhaps have a 12-month renewal or a quarterly renewal payment. It's fairly easy, and most banks are fairly pliable with that. One of the things I say, if you're doing a calendar renewals, employ multimedia approaches. If it's a date of joining, personalize it to individuals. The next point of this is involve the whole organization, particularly for calendar renewals. Everybody that talks, member services, reception person, CEO, president, board, heroes, champions, talk about it's renewals time. We want you to come back. We want you to stay in. And to me, the more you promote, the more you push. And one other thing I would say, reward early renewals. I think that can be kind of important. Sometimes you can give them a really, really nice gift that only early renewing members get. Other times it may be a financial reward. For instance, you might keep the 2012 fees in 2013. Just things like that. Things are not going to lose you a lot of money, but things that are going to influence and persuade your members to come back in a little bit earlier, because particularly where you've got a calendar renewals, it really is all about cash flow. You don't want to go chasing your tail. With renewals, I'll give you a very, very brief case study here. Working for an organization, and this is in leisure, they showed me their renewals letter, and it basically started out as, "Dear member, in order to put in improvements this year, we have to increase fees by 5%. Well, slap my wrist. I could not believe it. And I said, well, that's what you're going to do. That's your renewal. He said, yeah, that's what we've been doing every year. What we did, we made a couple of changes. The first one was Dear Fred, Dear John, we changed member to the person's name. Small thing, but it certainly helps. Second one is, as a valued member, we would like to tell you the 5 or 6 things that we've accomplished for you this year. And we listed, I think, half a dozen things of value for the members overall. Also, this is what we're going to be doing in 2012, 2013, and this is why we need you to renew. And we listed another 5 or 6 things that we've got on the go for the next few months. Finally, your renewals fee is going up by 5% this year. It's a small rise. It's less than a cup of coffee a week, or words to that effect. In other words, we diminished it by talking about all the value and all the benefits that we're going to offer to members. This particular organization, okay, it's a golf club. I'll tell you right now, everybody, golf clubs are hurting, and there's all sorts of reasons. This organization, my client, are ahead of the game. They're up in membership. Yeah, they're struggling, and they're mainly struggling because other golf clubs are offering $1,000 discounts or $1,000 worth of food and beverage if you become a member. That's why they're struggling. But they, amongst 14 other golf clubs in this area, are ahead of their memberships, and I think that's really, really fantastic. And they did it by being professional, not by discounting. Here's an area just once again for renewals, and I think everybody's pretty right with this. Online renewals, make it as simple as possible. Look at the alternative payments that they can make. Just keep it very, very simple. Now, anybody there says, what's that? You really are too young, aren't you? This is where, and I'm going to tell you a story here of what we've done, but I'm going to show you a couple of things first. Reactivation is, to me, before we lose them, you do have chronic late renewals, do you not? One of the things I've said, and I've worked this through with organizations, again, like CPA Australia, we took them from a state-based renewals to a national renewals, and I cannot tell you how much the renewals went up by letting it be run from a national, one source, instead of being farmed out to the various states. None of the states wanted to give up that power, and that's fair enough. However, nationally, you've got control, and it really made a difference. One of the things we put in there, we segmented and targeted chronic late renewals. Late renewals went down. However, whatever you say, it goes from renewal to lost member. This is where reactivation comes in. And here, I think, where you're trying to get people back, you do use a lot of multimedia methods, but where somebody has not renewed in, shall we say, 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, then I think it's time to bring in the heavy ammunition. And don't knock the phone, please. It is still one of the most powerful tools out there. And I'm going to tell you a story, as I said, shortly. One of the things we've done in sports, one year, I worked for 8 AFL clubs and an NRL club, and we set up a telemarketing outfit. We actually renewed 23,000 late renewing or lost members. We figured with that we could have probably started our own team. As a matter of fact, that was a thought, but we weren't allowed to. If you either renew a lost member or you obtain non-renewal feedback, it's equally important. Why are they leaving you? And could I just give you a suggestion here, everybody? Keep it to around about 5 categories. I can tell you now a couple of them are going to be financial, value for money. Wow, member benefits is getting bigger and bigger in people who lose an organization. But if you do lose them, last question is, things change, circumstances change. Maybe we keep in touch with you in case you'd ever like to rejoin us. And hey, you can put them on your newsletter list or something like that. And who knows what's going to happen down the track. On the next slide, I'm going to give you absolutely one of the most successful lost member reactivation programs ever of all times, and I would say this is probably a world record. That's me on your left. That's a keeper, and that's a really cute Thai elephant at Melbourne Zoo. I worked for Melbourne Zoo last year, and I worked with them for approximately 6 months. And what happened, I worked with a guy called Eamon Verbain. He's an absolute exceptional membership manager. And I can only see Eamon moving up in the world. What we did, they had a target of 8,000 lost members. Now, these members were between they were between 6 and 10 months not renewing, non-renewals, and that, to me, is definitely lost members. Eamon and I sat down and we worked out our objectives for the campaign. We set reactivation or win-back targets. We put together a telemarketing strategy. We hired 3 people. Wasn't all plain sailing. A couple of weeks into it, we had to sack one of them, but we got somebody else that was good. There's no point in mollycoddling people. We managed it, and we set it up. Contact guidelines are scripted, and we did reporting. That was basically what we did. 8,000 lost members. We contacted all 8,000 of those people. Over 5,000 of those lost members actually rejoined Zoos Victoria. It was an amazing outcome. I've never actually had success like that, but I think it was probably down to Eamon and the team. I was simply a player. It was the best ever that I'd ever been part of. To actually get 65% of lost members to come back to you is an extraordinary outcome. What I'd like to do from that is I want to spend 2 minutes now with those of you who've come today, and I'd like to say, look at a couple of ways that membership growth supports you. We've got about another 3 slides to go, but I just want to quickly run through a couple of areas of what we actually offer you. At Membership Growth, we've got complementary tools and resources. Just to give you an example, if you visit our website, it's called Free Resource, navigation bar on the right-hand side and a link. The Zoos Victoria story is there. Tip of the month, we've got a story on member service excellence, which is a really, really good article, and it links in, I knew Betty White. Remember the lovely Betty White? Many, many years ago, her and her husband used to come to the supermarket I worked at as a kid. It sure beat doing homework. And I linked the story of Betty White and member service excellence, and that's in the tip of the month. We have a complimentary newsletter, and that goes out to probably about 3,000 people at this point in time, and we get a lot of good feedback from it. We've just set up a membership group on LinkedIn, and I will take the liberty of letting everybody know what that group is and invite you to join us. We do market the world's #1 membership building program, the Membership Toolkit, and over 500 membership-based organizations actually own this toolkit. And at $197, including GST, that has helped secure thousands upon thousands of dollars in revenue and membership for people. We have some really, really good high-quality value-for-money resources. We've got a membership library. We've got training programs, marketing programs. We even have a how-to-do telemarketing program, which I think we sell for $77. We're not going to break budgets. We do in-house training and member services. And just for everybody's note, and again, it's on our website, we've got open membership workshops in August, on the 2nd of August in Melbourne, and on the 7th of August in Sydney. And they're going to be full-day workshops, and we'll expand on a lot of the things that I'm talking about today. But because we're not going to be looking for big numbers, we'll be able to develop specific plans with people. We do membership development and strategy, and we do keynote speaking. I've worked in the last year, and I'm finished now, I've worked in the last year with anything from 6 organizations with 600 members to plus members. And the last thing to say here is we also work with some really, really good business associates. So what I can't do, we get some people who can. And that, incidentally, includes the good people at Redback. Number 9, and we do have 3 more because I have a little bonus slide as well. I want to do a quick review before we call it a day. I call it raising the standards. And I think 4 things we've got here. Make membership memorable. Now, we've talked about all sorts of things, but to me, it's all about your organization has really, really good people, a good team working there who really care about members. They're creative. They do good events and good activities for their members. And members just say, I couldn't be anywhere else, or I couldn't spend my money on any other organization. Seek continuous improvement across the board. Primary question, every meeting, how can we better serve our members? That's something that to me is absolute importance. Another area, embrace innovation. I did say I was going to give you a really, really good formula for innovation. Best definition I've ever seen. And if you've ever read the book, a business book called Blue Ocean Strategies, it comes from Harvard Business Review. It's an excellent book, and it talks about if you really want to be innovative, the first thing, eliminate from your organization what's not working, reduce what is not getting a return for your members, what you can eliminate it, improve things that need improvement, and all 3 of those are within the organization, and then create new ideas. The best example I can give you, and it's right outside, not-for-profit, right outside this sector, is Cirque du Soleil. They basically looked at all 4 of these areas. Circuses, how long have circuses been in decline? Probably since the 50s with the advent of television. What is Cirque du Soleil? It's a circus. That's what it is, but it's different. And they've got anything like 6 sold-out shows at any time playing around the world as we go now. Last thing here is, I've got to say this one more time because it's so important about raising the standards. Develop or grow your communication strategy and your multi-channels of getting in touch with your people. Work with your prospects, work with your first-year members, and for heaven's sakes, don't forget your current members that have been there. You know, things like honoring those who've been with you for 5 years or 10 years, I think part of that is really, really important and letting everybody know. One other thing I'm just going to show you very quickly here, and this is a really interesting one. I call it the passion killer, but it's called the Stratum Engage mobile smartphone. No, I like the passion killer better. I'll tell you why. But people are in the field, like salespeople or field officers or people in other branches. You can gain access to membership data wherever and whenever you need to. Look at that. You're in a restaurant with the love of your life, and you book this really expensive place, and you say, honey, I'm just checking on these 400 late renewals. And she says, fine, doll. I'm working on my iPad. We'll catch up shortly. And isn't that really, that to me is passion and love in the 21st century. But hey, that is a really, really effective membership marketing tool. Now, we'll move on. Number 10, reinvent yourself. Okay, you see the guy on the right-hand side? Now, everybody, I had pictures of Madonna up there because I think she is the master of reinvention. I think she's brilliant. Whether you like her music or not, I think she's really, really good every 2 to 3 years of reinventing herself. But Getty Images, if this ever goes viral or gets out there, they don't like you putting photos of various people. So you have a young gentleman named Kevin who 3.5 years ago joined a gym. I am in the habit of reinventing myself every 2 to 3 years as well, and I've been doing it now for 25 years. 3.5 years ago, I said, Boyle, you've got to look after yourself, and you've got to reinvent yourself. I got a personal trainer, and I went at it full-time activity as hard as I possibly could. And I think the trainer got me up, this is probably about 18 months ago, and I'm bench pressing about 40 kilos, and I'm feeling pretty good. And he said, Kev, you got to raise the bar, mate. And this is what I want to say to everybody today. Raise the bar. And I did. And I pushed myself. And I've last 18 months, I don't have a personal trainer anymore. I'm doing it myself. But I've raised the bar, and I'm now raising 60 kilograms. Wasn't easy, but it was simple. I was driven. And I think everybody that's out there, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 little tips and hints here. A lot of you are leaders. You have teams. You need to raise the bar. My philosophy is complacency is not an option, and I push myself in every way I go. What do? Well, I think you need to look at how you stay ahead of the pack and your competitors. I think you need to look seriously to be seen as the leaders in your industry or field. I think you need to be known for your bold, decisive action. And last, I've thrown in a little one here. I've had this for many, many years. You give everything we've discussed today. You give innovation, you give value, you give benefits to your members. Don't forget the get. If you give, you have earned the right to gain revenue, to gain value for your own organization in return. And may I say here, yeah, good question. How much are you lifting there, Kevin? I think that's probably around about 40 kgs. It might be a little bit less, but it was, as I said, it's 18 months to nearly 2 years ago. How's that? But I was at the gym yesterday afternoon, and I bench pressed 60. So give, get, and turn your revenue into lots of get, because not only do organizations not promote themselves, but they don't gain enough revenue, in my humble opinion. Recession-proofing your organization in 2012 and beyond. Well, we've pretty well covered everything here. I'm going to run through it very, very quickly. You're innovative. You offer value. And a great definition I heard of the word value. Value is what members are willing to pay. Pure and simple. They see its value, they'll pay for it. If it doesn't represent value, and I said that is a rising factor in why people leave organizations, no value, no member benefits. Give excellent service. Don't give good service. Give excellent service to your members. B2B in particular, get results for your members. But I think everybody is looking for results, particularly as times are getting a little, shall we say, interesting. Another area is good communication, and I said one time, talk to your members. Use your multi-channel, but get out there and talk to your members. Another quick question here, is the membership toolkit a textbook or more? Very, very quickly, it's an e-book, and it's 320 pages with 160 pages of actual workbook as well. So there's nearly 500 pages, and I think that will probably help you sleep at night. But it's also broken into 7 sections. How can you sell it to your boss? Good question. Please visit the website, click on the link, and you'll see tons of testimonials, and it'll take you through the entire toolkit, and it'll be a no-brainer. And you can tell your boss I said that. Now, we have a bit of time to see if Sarah has got a couple of questions for me. We're nearly out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the last slide now, and that's a big thank you. And I can't hear any clapping, so I'll clap you. You've been a really, really good audience, and thank you. Pretty much all of you stuck with me for an hour. So, Sarah, do you want to come in with a couple of questions?
Yeah, absolutely, and right on time, Kevin. Thanks once again for another insightful presentation. And for those of you who do need to jump off, feel free to. If you do complete the exit survey, which is something that Kevin has been speaking about throughout, we will actually send you an email containing the recording of the presentation, the PowerPoint from today's presentation, and also there has been some questions, Kevin, about some online databases and membership databases that people have been talking about. Could we maybe get you to give us some advice on that and send that out with the recording email as well?
Okay. Sarah, do me one favor. I won't jot it down at the moment. I can send everybody, as well as a couple of other things I'm going to do, I can send everybody a list of probably about 20 providers of databases, and just say to people, too, to look to things such as cloud computing. I saw IMUS come up there. I saw CoreSoft come up there. You know, APT Solutions. They're all the top end of town. I've seen Salesforce up there. There is cloud as well. I'll send out, Sarah, if you'll give me a reminder, I'll send out a list of 20 providers of database, different types of programs and different types of costs to everybody that's attended today. How's that?
That sounds excellent. And as well, any other questions that you may have or maybe you think about over the next 24 hours or so, feel free to either type them into the exit survey, or alternatively, you can just contact us by sending an email either to Kevin@membershipgrowth.com.au or marketing@redbackconferencing.com.au. So we'll provide that information. There has been one question that came up earlier, and I do want to answer it because it did come up quite early in the presentation. But Kevin, it revolves around budgetary considerations. So in one organisation, there has been discussion around discontinuing paper renewals and letters and to only send EDMs. So what is your actual view on this? And this is from Zofia, by the way.
Okay. I've got another good question there if anybody wants to stick around. Look, is this like becoming paperless?
Yes.
I don't have any issues with it, but I would say that there are certain things that it doesn't hurt to use the mail. And if you use the mail, for instance, in sending membership packs to new members and just certain other things, then I think emails and EDM, I think, are all absolutely fantastic. But every now and then, somebody whose name, properly spelled, title, and they get a letter, something like 37% more chance of that letter getting opened and read than from email. Everybody just think about your own email boxes and think of how many things you delete or that sit there. It's a problem for a lot of people. So, I would send certain quality things out in the post or by mail or by courier. Everything else, I think, can be electronic. There was a question here. How do we evaluate one system from another system? Can I just say two things? First of all, make an absolute list. Talk to everybody in your organization that has part and parcel of the member relationship management. Make a list. Go through the list, check it off. Secondly, go through that list with would-be providers. Third thing, form a relationship with the providers. I remember one time I was working for this big organization, and they had just taken on one of the big providers, and the big providers had given them all of their software and things like that, and they were putting it all together for them. And I said, fantastic. Where is your prospect module? Because I want to go through that with you. The response was, what prospect module? And to my absolute amazement, appalling, they didn't have anything for prospects. And I said to the software people, because I know them, why didn't you give them some information on prospects? Oh, they didn't ask. So people, form a relationship with anybody that would provide you. And sometimes a little bit of money spent wisely is better than keeping money in your pocket, because you sometimes do get what you pay for. Sorry, was there another question, Sarah?
No more questions. So once again, if you do have any questions, like I said, feel free to send us an email and we can answer those and send some information in the follow-up email. But before I hand back to Kevin, Mark's actually wrapped it up. It was a very inspiring webinar. So thanks, Kevin, on behalf of Redback and myself.
Thanks. And listen, thanks to everybody for the really good messages. I'm looking at them, and I really am touched and very, very humbled by it. And I do appreciate you being there for me today. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Talk to you soon, Sarah. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Bye.